Good morning, dear colleagues. UCMC is starting its working day. The topic of the first press conference is the public demands to have a transparent competition for the selection of the post of Prosecutor General of Ukraine. Our speakers are Volodymyr Bondarchuk, son of one of the Heavenly Hundreds heroes, Pavlo Sydorenko, coordinator of the initiative group of people injured at the Maidan, Maselko, Automaidan lawyer, and Oleksandra Matviychuk, coordinator of Euromaidan-SOS. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. People say that history repeats itself twice, first time as tragedy, the second time as farce, but in Ukraine we have been repeating it for the third time. All three general prosecutors after Euromaidan and two former ones, and the third one, when they came to their posts, they promised us three things. First, to return the money acquired through corruptive activities to Ukraine, also to investigate the crimes in Maidan and to implement the radical comprehensive reform of Prosecutor General's office. All three prosecutors did not cope with these tasks, and now, when there are political bargains are going on whether the fourth General Prosecutor General will be appointed, we now decided to try and change all these schemes. We have three reasons to that. The first reason, as we have seen in the result of political compromise, the political parties themselves will not be able to cope with that task. The second reason, we as public, we believe that political parties who are in power now, they owe us, the people of Ukraine. They were brought up to the Olympus of the power by the public. And we see that people get frustrated. They are disappointed in law. The country where the war is going on, that is quite dangerous situation. And that is why we demand from the political parties, from the authorities, to involve the public into the process of selection of Prosecutor General. What I mean when I'm talking about participation of the public, we demand that the candidates which are being discussed are announced publicly. We also would like these people to declare what their action plan is, so that we can assess how they are planning to address complicated problems, how their vision corresponds to our. And the third one, we demand from the parties who declare themselves to be democratic to behave in accordance to democratic values. We believe that these are quite acceptable requirements, and we hope that we will not see the repetition of appointment of the Prosecutor General like it was happening in the past. Volodymyr Bondarchuk, the son of one of the Heavenly Hundred's heroes, Serhiy Bondarchuk. For us, as for the families of the Heavenly Hundred heroes, it is important that the crimes are investigated, and in this situation it is difficult to over-evaluate the role of the general prosecutor in investigation. 3 general prosecutors changed, and we see some results. We saw these results only after the Special Department of Investigation was set up. There was a big pressure from different NGOs and public organizations. The cases committed during the Revolution of Dignity are the indicator of whether anything changes in our country. Having discussed this situation, we are for the beginning of the open, transparent discussion of the candidates for the position of the Prosecutor General. We are for making the intentions and programs of the candidates public, and we want also to appoint our candidate, Serhiy Bondarchuk, who's the head of the Department of Special Investigations, because he managed to achieve certain results that we saw. And he achieved results in identification of persons who were involved into killing of our close-bys. And we would like to invite the public to actively participate in the discussion.
Good morning, dear colleagues. I'm Pavlo Sydorenko, coordinator of the initiative group of people injured at the Maidan. We unite people who were heavily injured on Grushevska Street during Maidan events. At this very moment, we would like to appeal to Volodymyr Groisman, Speaker of the Verkhovna Rada, to all the MPs, to members of Conciliation Board, that they would be very attentive during voting for the change of the Prosecutor General, Mr. Shock. And unfortunately, the Prosecutor's General office is so much spoiled with corruption that it is unable to carry out its functions, and all the Prosecutor General tried not to change the system, but they wished to align the entire system with their own personal requirements. That is, we have to dismiss the current Prosecutor General. As a representative of those people who sacrificed their health, who were injured in Maidan events, we at that moment we stood for the honesty, for integrity of the power in the country, and we now call for the president and for other people in power that they should act openly, submitting and discussing candidates to the position of Prosecutor General, and we request all the MPs that that the selection procedure and all the discussions about possible candidates should be made open. We wish not to tolerate any more these secret discussions of candidates, because we believe that the Prosecutor General system should be radically changed. In the spoiled sea of the prosecutor's office, there is only one small island of integrity. This is the Department of Special Investigations, chaired by Serhiy Bondarchuk, and these people work efficiently and in the integrity way, and we can clearly see that he had done much during his first 3 months in this position, despite all the obstacles and hinders created by the rest of the prosecutor's office. Of course, I'm not very much happy with the pace of this very investigation, but at least with the coming of this Mr. Bondarchuk into position, the investigation is carried out honestly and fairly. I believe that looking at the current candidates, Mr. Sydorenko and some others, we are not happy with these candidates, and we would like to offer our own candidate, Mr. Bondarchuk, because we believe he can really change the system. Good morning, I'm Maselko Roman. I'm a lawyer, member of the Lawyers Advisory Group, which during more than 2 years has been dealing with legal representation of Automaidan members. We are those lawyers who on daily basis are involved to the work of prosecutor's office. We can state that all the crimes committed during Maidan events could be efficiently investigated. The only precondition necessary for this is political will and professional will of the investigators. What we have found in course of our activities is the fact that due to the lack of political will of the authorities which govern the investigations, the immediate performers of these investigations, they are acting not very eagerly, and because of the lack of political will and lack of the will to act among investigators, we do not see any progress in the investigation. We believe that in the prosecutor's office, we should have professionals, honest professionals. Of course, we lack in many cases such professionals, but there are such professional and honest people in the staff of the prosecutor's office. And the next issue is to staff investigations with sufficient number of employees, because just one investigator cannot do much in dealing with a huge case. It should have sufficient number of assistants, professional assistants. On the other hand, such people should gain all possible support from broad society. We believe that in creating proper conditions for investigation, much depends on the Prosecutor General. And of course, in today's situation, much depends on the President of the country and on the Parliament. Of course, Prosecutor General should base his or her activities on the law and should not base decisions on the wish of the President. As of today, we do not have this to be fulfilled in reality. That's why, as lawyers, we support the initiative of the Heavenly 100 Families Association and initiative of the Maidan Injured People Association. We believe that the Prosecutor General should base his work on the broad support from public, and in this case we are ready to deliver such support to Mr. Gorbatyuk. That's why we would like to present him as a candidate to the Prosecutor General. Having experience of cooperation with him, we found out that he is a real professional, that he is honest, and we believe that he would be able to fulfill the one of the biggest requests of the public. This is a proper investigation of the Maidan cases. By the way, the Maidan cases comprise not only of criminal actions, criminal deeds against Maidan participants, but also a big economic bloc. And that's why we wish to have in the position of Prosecutor General a person able to bring the cases to final point. We believe that he is able to be really independent and to base his decisions on the rule of law and not on the wishes of the authorities. Of course, putting forward Mr. Gorbatyuk as a candidate, we understand that we represent just some part of civil society, and that's why we invite all the civil society and all broad public to public discussion about about all the candidates. That is, we would like to have open and public competition for this position, and we are interested to get finally the candidate who will gain the biggest support from society. That is, we invite all the journalists, all interested stakeholders to promote this idea about public competition of and public discussion of all the candidates, and to get answers to the most important issues for the public. As for Mr. Gorbatyuk, we immediately put forward such a request that any candidate from civil society should be ready to such a public discussion of him as a candidate. Also, we have got such an agreement from Yegor Sobolev and from Parliamentary Committee on Counteraction to Corruption. They are ready to invite the possible candidates to an interview, to draft the list of questions for this interview, etc. As for Mr. Shokin, there are suggestions that it is not correct to start public discussions about a candidate who is absent in the office at the moment. And as for Mr. Shokin, we are not happy with the pace of investigation. There are documents that prove sabotage from from previous investigators, and that's why we object against his appointment as a candidate.
Just the fact that the society is appointing this candidate means that doesn't mean that this person can do anything. We are ready to indicate any defects that might happen in the work, and the support can quickly turn into radical requirements. The requirement to leave the position. We believe that the person who will come with the support of the society will understand that it's very easy to change the support to requirement. And that is the only chance for the state that the general prosecutors will do what we demand. So again, finishing our press conference, we would like to say we are for open public competition. We appoint our candidate Serhiy Bondarchuk. We call upon you and him to create this public platform for discussion. Thank you. Thank you. We have little time left for questions. If you have any questions, dear journalists, please ask. Channel 24. Besides supporting Yegor Sobolev, who else is supporting you? The support of Yegor Sobolev is on providing the platform for discussion. That is important. How to discuss, where to discuss. We believe that the Committee of the Parliament is a good platform. This could be anything. If on channel 24 you can suggest some other format, I believe we will appreciate that. And then the society will be able to see all the candidates. As to other persons who support this public discussion, the first one who mentioned that was Serhiy Leshchenko, that there should be some discussion. Also, talking about experts, we know that the candidate that we want to appoint should be discussed. Economic news, экономические известия. If the authorities do not hear your requirement as to transparent competition, what will you then be doing? Do you have any clear action plan? Unfortunately, the society does not have so many instruments of influence. We are saying that we will demand that the state, I believe, will not just ignore the initiative of the families of the Heavenly Hundred. If they do ignore, this will be a clear signal for the whole society. To what extent these authorities are ready to react? The society knows how to react to that. The society knows how to hear.
Euromaidan-SOS і інші правозахисні організації, які утворюють платформу «Правозахисний порядок денний», вже 2 роки працюють над тим, щоб
So our organizations are fighting, have been fighting for 2 years, and despite the results of this attempt of the public, we will continue this work. The law drafted by the presidential administration, which introduces the amendments into the constitution related to the Prosecutor General Office, does not really introduce any amendments. We believe that this is the danger. If we do not change this provision, then the general prosecutor's position will be suffering from that. Thank you.